everyone. Karen Roby here with EdBot. We're talking today about the Windows 10 November 2019 update. And Ed, this is version 1909. Wait a second. Explain that for us.
Yeah, I know. The one in spring was version 1903, and this one's 1909. And every time I look at those, I think, wait a minute, wasn't Teddy Roosevelt or somebody president back then? We're going to have this happen again in the next two updates as well in 2020, because we're going to have version 2003 and then later in the year 2009, and both of those are going to look like they came out in 2003 and 2009. It's sort of a quirk of the way that Microsoft names these updates. They use the first two digits are the year and the second two digits are the month, and so that's going to cause some confusion for until we get into the year 2021. But this one that's coming up is the November 2019 update, version 1909.
Lots of numbers there to confuse us. Okay, so Ed, typically when we talk about feature updates, sometimes we get a little bit of nervous as sometimes things can go awry with these updates. But the title of your article, when talking about this, is that it will be a pleasant surprise. So how is that possible?
Well, that is a good question because I know people are nervous about Windows 10 feature updates because the last two have been far from trouble-free. And just in general, even if they are trouble-free, they can be a bit of a hassle. Typically these feature updates, which come out every 6 months, are, as the name implies, they are packed with new features, and they are essentially a whole new version of Windows 10. And so it takes, typically an hour, maybe a little less, but sometimes considerably more depending on your hardware. That takes a lot of time to install, and that's particularly disconcerting for people when they turn on their computer in the morning and it says, "Hi, go away for an hour or 90 minutes because I'm busy installing this thing." But this one is different. When it's available right now for people who are in the Windows Insider program who have chosen the release preview ring. And so I did that on one of my test systems and installed version 1909 the other day. And I have to tell you, I was pretty surprised to discover that it took less than 5 minutes from start to finish to install. And that was a pleasant surprise. And the reason is when I dug deep into it was I discovered that instead of this being a big full Windows update like the typical feature update is, this one is a very, very small Windows Update package, and its official name is an enablement package. And all it does is it increments the Windows 10 build number by 1, and it changes the version information in the About box for Windows, and then it enables a couple of features that were already included with version 1903. Now, I should go back and say that this is true if you had already installed version 1903 this past spring. If you did that, then the version 1909 update is going to go so fast you will hardly even notice it, and it's not going to introduce hardly any new features at all. So there's very little that could go wrong. If you have an older version of Windows 10 installed, 1803, for example, or 1809, then it will be a full feature update, the full hour or more process. But for people who are going just from 1903 to 1909, very quick, and it should be painless.
Painless feature update. We like that, Ed. So all of this being said, though, are there any actual new features then? It doesn't sound like it, or?
Well, there are a few new features. And so basically what they've done is these features were in version 1903 all along, but they just weren't turned on. And so when you flip the switch to turn 1903 into 1909, you will get a few new features enabled. One of them is that it will supposedly enable additional battery life on certain types of CPUs. Now, Microsoft isn't being very forthcoming about which CPUs those are, but presumably those are the new Ice Lake CPUs from Intel and such. So you can expect better battery life. There's also a new feature where if you're using the calendaring feature in Windows 10, you'll be able to click the date down in the right corner of the taskbar, and a flyout will come up. And instead of having to click to open the calendar app and create a new appointment or meeting, there'll be a little plus sign there, a little box where you can just enter a new appointment right on the fly there. No, don't have to open any apps. You just type it, pick a date, pick a time, click OK, and you have a new appointment. There's one interesting new feature that I've been pleased to see, which is in File Explorer. The search capability is now powered by Windows Search and is no longer a separate part of File Explorer. So if you start typing a search term in the search box in File Explorer, you immediately start seeing results as a drop-down list that comes from there. And that search can also include your offline files in OneDrive. So even if they haven't been synced to your PC, you can see the search results for files that you have in OneDrive. And if you click one of those search results, it will download and then open for you. There's a few other features that are very specialized there for OEMs. Things like OEMs can configure their new PCs that have pen support so that the pressure sensitivity is based on the device itself and not on the Windows version. And that's something that apparently OEMs were asking for, but most of us wouldn't know or really care about that. And there's a fair number of new management features for enterprise deployments of Windows 10. So if you're running Windows Server Update services and System Center Configuration Manager, you'll find a few new capabilities that are available once you've enabled version 1909. But again, those are the kind of things that most of us who are managing our own PCs and installing Windows 10 updates manually, we're not going to notice those. So, the way this is going to work is that at some point, probably in November, because it is, after all, the November 2019 update, people will see, if you go to Windows Update, you'll see under the optional updates heading, you'll see that this update is available. And it'll have a link there where you can choose to download and install it. Now, you don't have to. It's an optional update. And that's also a big change from previous versions. But when you're ready, especially if you're going from 1903 to 1909, you can click that. It will happen very quickly. You'll have upgraded to 1909, and you can get right back to work.
All right, very good. Some great information there, Ed. We appreciate it as always. If you'd like more information on that November 2019 update, make sure you check out Ed's full article on ZDNet. Thanks for watching.